It starts with a whine in the pipes. Barely noticeable. Just a soft, high-pitched squeal, like air gasping through a straw. I wouldn't have thought anything of it, except it don't belong. See, out here on the edge of refrise, our wells are sacred, private, pulled straight from the aquifer and piped across my grandfather's old cattle ranch, now mine, to water livestock, fill troughs, and keep the barn cool in the dead heat of a South Texas summer. Nobody touches another man's water. Not out here. Not ever. I'm Elijah Mayfield, black rancher, third generation, stubborn as the mesquite roots that twist under this red clay earth. I run my land quiet, no fuss, no flash, just faith and grit. The sun rises to roosters, not alarms, and dinner don't start till the dogs are fed. My neighbors know me, mostly respect me, even if a few flinch when I walk too close in boots and a beat-up Carhartt. But lately, something's been off. The water pressure is lower than it should be. Cattle are getting antsy near the troughs, grumbling like they smell a change. And 3 days ago, I found my lower pasture muddy, just one section, not touched by rain. Odd. I chalked it up to age. Maybe a small leak in the PVC running underground. Then I saw the truck. A pearlescent white Range Rover with gold-plated trim. Gaudy like it's trying too hard. Idling just past the HOA's newly planted lavender hedges. It's parked real close to the fence line where my property kisses the edge of that little upscale subdivision, Sweetgrass Villas, where fences are white, dogs are hushed, and yards are suspiciously green for a drought year. A woman steps out, blonde bob, sun hat big enough to clock a man sideways. She's talking on her phone like the world's beneath her, lips pucker like something smells bad. It's Karen Winslow, president of the Sweetgrass HOA, queen of citations. She's the kind who calls code enforcement if your trash can's left out 20 minutes too long, or if your livestock smells are drifting into HOA territory. Last year, she tried to argue that my roosters violated quiet enjoyment. Never mind that my ranch has been here 50 years before the villas broke ground. Never mind she moved in right beside it. She doesn't wave, just glances over my fence like she owns the damn horizon. And that's when it clicks. My ranch water line runs close to that fence line. Right beneath it, actually, my jaw tightens. It's a stretch, no proof. Just a gut feeling in a patch of dead grass that don't sit right. But around here, we know when something's wrong. It's in the way the wind shifts, the way folks look without looking. I don't say anything. Not yet, but I start watching, and I take notes. Because if there's one thing I've learned growing up black in a town like it's this, when they think you're not looking, that's when they start stealing. And when they get caught, they act like it's you who's trespassing. And I've got a feeling something's about to break. The whine in the pipes gets louder. It's worst at dawn, when the water lines are supposed to be quiet. Before the horses even stir, I'm hearing a rush, unnatural like suction, not a leak, a pull. I test the spigots. Pressure's inconsistent. My irrigation timer's blinking, reset like someone's been tampering. I check the cattle troughs. They're low, too low for how little we've used. There's no break in the line, no visible leak. The land's dry as bone, except one spot, the far corner, right where Sweetgrass Villa's backyards meet my fence. The grass there? Lush, unnaturally green. And the air? Damp, fresh, like someone's been misting the lawn at midnight. I crouch by the fence. Notice the plastic tie wraps I clipped last year when I upgraded the pipe. They're back, and not the kind I use. I run my fingers along the PVC. It's warm. Water's moving through it when it shouldn't be. That's when I know. Someone's tapping into my water line. And only one property backs up right there, Karen Winslow's. I don't have hard proof yet, just suspicion. But it grows heavier by the hour, thick in my chest like a thundercloud that won't break. Karen's the kind who weaponizes charm and county code. Always sipping wine with city council wives. Always quick to smile in front of cameras, then file noise complaint behind closed doors. We've never had words, but that don't mean she respects me. Just last month, She stopped me outside the feed store, asked if I'd consider painting my barn a softer tone, because the rustic red clashed with the sweetgrass aesthetic. I laughed, told her my barn's been red since 1972, and it'd be red long after her subdivision folds. She didn't like that. Now I'm wondering if this is her way of showing me who's really in charge. I start watching her house from a distance. A small koi pond appeared in her yard, glimmering with ornamental fish. That's new. She has garden fountains now, too, little Roman cherubs spitting streams of water over marble. Where's that water coming from? We're in the middle of a burn ban and a drought advisory. The county's restricted outside watering. Fines are steep. Yet somehow, Karen's lawn looks like the cover of a golf magazine. My livestock are panting in the shade while her hydrangeas bloom, like it's springtime in the Carolinas. I mention it to Sheriff Donnelly in town, casual-like. He squints. You sure? No, I say, but I got a feeling. He leans in, lowers his voice. She's tight with the HOA board. They shut down that complaint about her unauthorized pool heater last summer before it hit the record. Watch your step. Watch my step. Right, because when folks like Karen cross the line, it's called a misunderstanding. But when someone like me raises a brow, it's called aggression. I don't say anything else, but I start planning. Because this ain't just about water anymore. It's about principle. And out here, principle is worth more than land. I don't call her. I don't write a letter. I walk. One hot Tuesday afternoon, I leave my dogs at the porch, take off my gloves, and cross the long stretch of dry pasture till my boots hit the HOA fence line. Karen's property looms on the other side. Gleaming white pergola, wrought iron patio set, a koi pond bubbling like it thinks it's Versailles. I spot her instantly. Wide-brimmed sun hat, pruning shears, humming to herself like she ain't stolen a drop. Her sprinklers kick on as I approach. CH, hissing over plants that shouldn't be thriving in this heat. She startles when she sees me at the fence. Karen, I call polite but firm. You got a minute? She doesn't even flinch, doesn't lower the shears, just lifts one perfect eyebrow, like I've stepped on sacred ground. Elijah, she says, voice sugar and vinegar. Something wrong. I nod toward the koi pond. That new? Gift from my husband, she says, smile tight. Stress relief. Funny thing, I say, my water pressure's been off. Pipes whining. Trough's low. But then I look over here, green grass, running fountains, in the middle of a drought. Her eyes flash, just for a second, then she chuckles. Well, I suppose it's just good landscaping. Maybe you ought to upgrade your irrigation. My jaw tenses. You didn't touch my line? Her smile hardens like sun-baked clay. That's a very serious accusation, Mr. Mayfield. There it is, Mr. Mayfield, not Elijah. Formality as a weapon. I didn't accuse you. I say, yet. She sighs, steps closer, pretending concern. You know, I've heard complaints about your livestock smells drifting over, and I think there's still some unpermitted structures near the fence. Just FYI, would hate to see the county involved. Threats wrapped in HOA politeness. I don't blink. I just tip my hat, turn around, and walk back. She thinks that's the end. It ain't. The next morning, I head into town and pick up two things: a trail cam with night vision and a backflow valve with a dye injector. Harmless food-grade color, neon blue. Won't hurt nobody. But it'll mark whatever's pulling from my line. I install both myself. Quiet. No one sees. Then I wait. 2 days later, I check the footage. There it is, grainy but clear. A PVC branch with a flexible hose snaking through the fence slats. Someone can't see the face, but the gait and the pearl-colored gardening gloves give her away. Twist the valve open. Lets the koi pond run. Gotcha. I send the footage to Sheriff Donnelly with no caption. Just a clip. His reply. This ain't just water theft. That line's AG fed. That's a felony. I drive into town to show the Water Conservation Board rep. Her eyes go wide when she realizes Karen's tapped into federally subsidized agricultural water. That's not just unethical, that's criminal. Word starts to ripple through refries. Quiet phone calls. Whispers at the feed store. And just like that, the power balance shifts. Because up till now, Karen's been playing with monopoly money. HOA threats, code citations, image control. But she just committed real theft. On a federal level. And no HOA title gonna protect her from that. What's worse, the dye kicks in the next morning. Her koi pond turns electric blue. Her fountain spray the color of windshield wiper fluid across her manicured lawn, staining everything in its path. The koi startle, thrashing like they've been dumped in acid. They're fine, just confused. Her lawn? Ruined. I watch it all from the porch, sipping coffee. She's screaming into the phone, covered in splashes of blue. And I'm just getting started. Karen's koi pond is neon blue, her fountain spewing dye like a busted art project, and her back patio looks like someone murdered a smurf. But that's not what sets the day apart. Today's the HOA emergency board meeting, called last minute, held in the community center, supposedly about property standards and unauthorized surveillance. I already know what this is. A trap. I show up anyway, boots muddy, hat low, posture relaxed. Every seat in the place is taken. Karen's perched at the front like a blonde python in pearls, flanked by her usual squad. For board members who owe her favors and fear her wrath. The moment I step through the door, her voice cuts the air. Well, there he is. I was beginning to think you'd lost your nerve, Mr. Mayfield. I give her a slow smile. Just curious what fiction y'all put together. She pretends offense. We're here to address a serious matter. Namely, your unauthorized installation of surveillance equipment and your use of chemical agents in a shared watershed zone. Shared watershed. That one gets some murmurs. Folks forget my line's private because she's muddying the truth. Deliberately, she lifts a printed photo. One of the trail cam stills, cropped blurry, conveniently omitting the hose in her hands. This kind of behavior, she says, reflects poorly on the community. We maintain standards here, and we all need water to thrive. There it is. We all need water. A gentle way of saying, I deserve access to your resources because my lifestyle requires it. Entitlement polished to a shine. I stay quiet as she smirks and turns to the room. I move to censure Mr. Mayfield and recommend civil action for environmental tampering. A few heads nod, but others shift uncomfortably. Karen senses it and doubles down. I mean, really, she scoffs. Die? Hidden cameras? Intimidation? This isn't a farm. It's becoming a threat to our community's harmony. I finally stand, let the silence fall. Then I reach into my folder, slow and deliberate, and lay down 3 things. 1, a signed letter from the Water Conservation Board, confirming Karen illegally tapped a federally subsidized agricultural water line. 2, a full-resolution trail cam video, unedited, time-stamped, crystal clear. 3, an affidavit from my plumber, confirming the install of the dye valve and its harmless composition. Gasps ripple through the room like wind over wheat. Karen stiffens. Her lips twitch. I step forward just 1 pace. This ain't about harmony. I say evenly. This is about theft. And lying. And using your seat on the HOA to bully folks who don't fold. I don't need to intimidate anyone. I let the facts talk. The president of the HOA, a retired judge with no love for drama, adjusts his glasses, studying the papers. Is this accurate? He asks Karen quietly. Her voice falters. I was told the line was abandoned, that it wasn't used. That's not what you said 5 minutes ago. I interrupt. Laughter breaks in the back. Karen's jaw clenches. I could sue, she snaps, for defamation, for emotional distress. You could, I say, but I reckon federal theft charges keep you too busy. She looks around the room, and for the first time finds no allies, just HOA members, suddenly realizing how much she's risked dragging them down with her. Her face drains of color. You don't understand what you've done, she whispers. I do, I reply. I protected what's mine. And this time, no one dares to silence me. Karen doesn't storm out like you'd expect. No, She sits frozen, mouth open just enough to catch flies, eyes darting like a cornered fox. The room's gone quiet, but it ain't still. You can feel the shift. Her allies on the board start scooting their chairs away like they're dodging blame by proximity. The HOA president clears his throat, but even he looks like he's tasting bile. That's when the door swings open. Sheriff Donnelly walks in, not in uniform, but the man's presence carries enough weight to make the whole room lean. Karen visibly recoils. "Hope I'm not interrupting," he says calmly, stepping forward. "Got a call from the water board. They pass along some footage. Seems someone's been tapping an AG-fed line." Karen stands too fast. "Sheriff, this is highly irregular. This is a private meeting. It's also a potential felony," he says, raising an eyebrow. "And you did steal from a federal water supply, which, by the way, you signed off on recognizing last year when the HOA tried to limit trough fill times. Remember that memo?" Karen blinks. Her throat bobs. That was a general proposal. "I pulled the minutes," he says, holding up a binder. "Your signature. Your motion. You knew the line was AG-fed. That's perjury if you claim otherwise now." She spins to the board. "This is all out of context. I didn't know it was active. Elijah never posted any signage. Actually, I cut in, pulling out one last piece of paper. Here's the signed delivery receipt for the 3 water use restricted. Agricultural supply, only signs I installed at my line junction 6 months ago, with time-stamped photos." A collective inhale ripples through the room. Karen sways slightly. She looks at me, then at the sheriff, then at the board, searching for someone to catch her fall. No one moves. I only needed it for my koi pond. They were dying. I didn't think. "Karen," the HOA president says softly, folding his hands. "I think you need legal counsel." "Legal counsel?" she snaps. "Are you seriously taking a side?" "Federal law doesn't have sides," Sheriff Donnelly says. "And frankly, this ain't just theft. It's misuse of community position to bully, manipulate, and conceal evidence. That's civil liability on top of criminal charges." Karen's eyes go wide, panic rising like floodwater. She takes a trembling step toward the board. "I've served this HOA for years. I've organized charity drives, garden walks. This man is. He's trying to ruin me." "You ruin yourself," I say, quiet but firm. "I just lit the fuse." Sheriff Donnelly pulls out a citation slip. "You'll receive a formal summons. The county prosecutor's reviewing the case. I suggest you don't tamper with anything else in the meantime." Karen stares at it like it's a death warrant. Then, finally, her facade cracks. She lets out a tiny, pitiful laugh. One of those high, disbelieving ones. "This is ridiculous. You'll all regret siding with him," she hisses, grabbing her purse. "He doesn't belong here. He's always acted like this land makes him better than the rest of us." No one says a word. She storms out, and just like that, the empress of the HOA dethroned. I don't smile. Not yet, because when justice comes slow, you savor every mile it travels. 3 weeks later, her koi pond is bone dry. The same woman who once paraded through HOA meetings like she owned the land now avoids eye contact at the grocery store. Her Range Rover's been parked in the driveway all week. Flat tire on one side, bright orange violation of municipal code sticker on the other. And the dye? Still faint on her concrete. Fuchsia-like shame. Turns out, the county didn't just slap her with theft charges. They traced the unauthorized pipe back to multiple water lines. She'd been siphoning from more than just mine. One of the neighbors, old Mr. Becker, found her tap coming from his irrigation well, too. The board? Unanimous vote. Karen was removed as HOA treasurer and barred from holding any future office. "She misused our trust," the president said on the record. "We deeply regret our failure to recognize the pattern of harassment and manipulation." Pattern. That's the word that stuck. Because once Karen fell, stories poured out. The Ryans, new black family down the road, said she called code enforcement on them 3 times in their first month over untrimmed hedges. The Alvarezes got letters about, unapproved cultural decorations after putting up papal picado for Dia de los Muertos. People remembered, but no one had acted. Until now, one by one, folks started coming up to me at the feed store, the post office, even just pulling over in the road, to say something they never had before. "I'm sorry. I didn't realize. You made us look closer." Maybe not everyone changed overnight, but the air around here, it's different, lighter. I walked the fence line on a Sunday morning, boots soft in the dirt, sun rising over the hills like an old friend. My cattle mill around the troughs, filled with clean water now, protected. As I pass the old oak near the junction box, I pause. The dive valve's still there. I leave it, a reminder, not of pettiness, but of precision. Because sometimes justice doesn't roar in, sometimes it trickles, colors the ground until the truth can't be washed away. Behind me, I hear the crunch of gravel. Uncle Eli. I turn. My niece, Kendra, runs up the path, holding a clipboard. She's just joined a local water co-op for her senior project, working with the AG department. Her curls bounce with every step. "You were right," she says, beaming. They're adding language about HOA overreach to the new policy draft. And guess what? They asked me to present next week. I chuckle, heartful. That's my girl. She grins wider. Also, Ms. Karen's koi pond just got condemned by the county. I laugh, hard, the kind that shakes dust from your lungs. Kendra laughs too. And for a moment, we just stand there, under that wide blue sky, on land that's been in our family since my grandfather staked it with calloused hands and a heart full of grit. This ranch was built to endure. And now, so are we. Want a full polished PDF of the complete story or the YouTube script version formatted for voiceover next?